It was a little less than a year ago that Frankie Perez was fighting in Saskatchewan. He finished Sam Stout, and it was a fantastic win. And then he went on the mic and said that he was done, that he was going to retire from the sport of mixed martial arts. And this was a very surprising announcement for a young fighter, just 10-2, a young guy, not even 30 years old yet at the time, late 20s. He was rolling, and then out of the blue, Frankie Perez announced his retirement. Well, he's joining us right now with some news. There he is via the magic of Skype. Frankie Perez is in the house here. Frankie, how are you?
I'm good, Ariel. How are you, buddy?
I am doing great. I appreciate you joining us here on the show today. So you have some news. You've been hinting that you have some news. You have stuff to get off your chest. The floor is yours, my friend. What's up?
Yeah, man. Well, I made you a promise that, if I ever made the decision on getting active again and coming back to join the UFC, you'd be the first call. Last year was a tremendous year, up and down for me. To get things off my chest, the whole, starting the year off was rough for me, with the whole Johnny Case fight. But leading up to that, a lot of people didn't know, and I never made any excuses or told anybody that what was going on. But leading up to that fight, I lost my grandfather, who is, very, very close to me. He was my best friend. And I got the call. He passed away on a Wednesday. I got the call on a Saturday to go fight Johnny Case on 4 weeks. So I said, absolutely. I thought it was like a sign, And 2 weeks into camp, I popped my MCL. So, everybody was telling me to pull out. And I said, absolutely not. You know what I mean? I'm here, right after that, before I even left to Boston, my grandmother gets rushed to the hospital and dealing with all that. So it was just a lot on somebody's head, and I've been dying to get that off my chest because a lot of people always ask me, what happened there, what was going on. And to be honest, and frankly, I was lying to myself that whole week, that I was ready, that, I should have just manned up and fought. But, I was just in a different mindset that I couldn't get my grandparents out of my head, and warming up in the back, it was right there and then that I knew I was just brought in here as an opponent, and I was going to lose, you know what I mean? And I've never had that feeling in my life ever.
Wow.
And I just went out there and was a heavy bag for this kid, even though, I look back at the fight and it wasn't a terrible fight, but it definitely wasn't Frankie Perez, you know what I mean? And right after that fight, my grandmother ended up passing away maybe a week later. So it was a lot, it was a lot. I didn't even want to think about MMA, let alone, go train or anything like that. So I want to say maybe like 4 months later, I finally regrouped and got my feet back under me and started training again, but it definitely wasn't the same. I really was doing it to do it, not because I loved it. I was just kind of just rolling with the punches and doing what I'm used to be doing, And so when they called up for the Saskatoon fight and they gave me two opponents the first time, once I heard Sam Stout, I knew what they were trying to do, but I didn't even jump. I didn't even hesitate. I just said, let's do it. I didn't even want to hear the second guy's name, and I just knew that it was my time, So when I went into that whole camp was flawless, but I was miserable. You know what I mean? I didn't want to train. I was really, coming home pissed off. I couldn't stand my family. I couldn't stand my coaches. I was just not me, I hated the sport, and I had the best fight of my life. You know what I mean? I went in there with probably the second biggest name to ever come out of Canada, and I stopped him in less than a minute, but maybe it was a little dramatic on the retirement, because at the time that I was at, my mindset was, I'm done. I don't ever want to lace up another pair of gloves. I don't want to train anymore. I just kind of want to enjoy my life and just enjoy the life that was given to me. You know what I mean? It was 9 years. I've never taken a break ever from this sport, and it wasn't fair to my family. It wasn't fair, to all my friends around me. It wasn't fair to myself, to be living a life that, I'm kind of forced to live just because I'm good at it, And so that's when I called it quits and I said, I'm done. And honestly, man, up to about 3 months ago, I was really done with the sport. I've been catching myself around it, even though I've been gone. I've been to 3 or 4 fights since then. I've seen you at the fights, and helping out all my teammates. And I realized, man, that this is really what I'm about. This is me, and I was getting ready for a charity fight, and I really had a lot of fun. I found my passion for the sport again. I found my love. I really enjoyed waking up early and going for a run, and training with Coach Mark, and being around the boys, and Frankie and Eddie and Edson and Marlon, everybody getting ready for their fights, and training with Corey Anderson every Tuesday. You know what I mean? It was just, I was having fun again. I wasn't forced to go in there and wake up in the morning, oh man, I got to go spar. Oh man, I don't want to do this shit, and I really found my passion and drive, and realized why I'm here, why I was meant to be in Canada, against Sam Stout, and why I'm meant to be in the UFC. And everybody has their calling, you know what I mean? LeBron plays basketball, Tiger Woods plays golf, and I really believe that, I'm meant to be here and meant to be one of the best. So today is, the first day of the rest of my life here, you know what I mean? And I don't know how it's going to go. I mean, I could go back and, be 3 fights in and be 3 fights out, but I am definitely ready to make that next move, and coming out of retirement, I guess, and getting ready to be active again. And the call is being made to the UFC today, and we'll see how everything goes and see how Joe and Dana and Lorenzo feel.
Well, first off, welcome back, and thank you for coming on this program to announce this to the world. Do you recall the moment where you decided, okay, no more retirement, I'm coming back to fighting? Was there a specific moment, a day, a conversation where it was actually cemented in your mind that you were going to do this?
Yeah, I was getting ready to do a charity fight to raise money for multiple sclerosis, because my sister has it, you know, and I did about an 8-week camp for it. It was a charity fight, but I was, taking it serious. I was a little heavy, so I was, trying to lose some weight, put on a good show for the fans, it was for a great cause. And the day my manager came up to my apartment and told me the entire event was canceled, I broke down in tears. Not even so much for me fighting, but for my sister, because I wanted to raise some money for this charity, and it was great. But right there, I realized, I just stopped crying, and I was like, man, I'm really passionate about this damn sport, even though I hated it so much last year, and it was just remarkable on how much of an impact something like that could have on you, you know what I mean? And it was a fun 8-week camp. It wasn't anything serious, I was training my butt off, but right there and then I was like, man, I'm meant to do this, you know what I mean? This is what I was put on this earth to do, and honestly, I feel like I have a whole new life. I'm just ready. There's so much weight and everything's off my shoulders. There's no really light on me right now. I just show up to the gym, I train, I have fun, and I come back home. I'm not putting that much pressure on me anymore. I'm just taking it every day as the next, and I'm just ready. I'm just ready for whatever they're ready to throw at me.
What'd you do the last 10 months or so when you weren't fighting? I know, like you said, I've seen you at events. You're still part of the team. You're still helping guys train, cornering, etc. But how are you making a living?
Well, I have an entertainment company.
Okay.
I do high-end weddings and mitzvahs and stuff on the weekend.
Okay.
But honestly, since I've fought in Canada, I've been traveling. I've been going to Miami. I was in Brazil twice. I was down in Florida seeing family. I've just been all over the place, just honestly enjoying my friends and my family as much as possible. I started bowling. I started playing softball with my buddies. You know what I mean? Stuff that I generally wouldn't do because, God forbid I get hurt or whatever
Right.
it is. I've just been enjoying it. Every minute I can with my friends and my family, I've just been taking full advantage of.
You had the perfect final fight in the sense that you knocked out a guy who had been known to have this amazing chin. You did it on his home turf. You announced your retirement in the cage. I mean, I remember that next day, it was a Sunday night fight. I think it was August 23rd, if my memory serves me correct. And the next day on this show and all over the place, you were the talk of the town. It wasn't even the main event that people were talking about because they were like, wow, look at this guy, not even 30 yet, knocks, a great fighter out and then announces retirement. I mean, you received a lot of praise for knowing when to say when. No one criticized you for this decision. Was it hard to say, okay, I'm going to come back, and now that is no longer your last fight? You had the storybook ending to a fight career. Yes, you didn't win a title or anything like that, but I mean, that was pretty damn good, and you're leaving in perfect health. Was it hard to say, okay, that's no longer going to be my last fight, and now I'm going to keep writing this story?
A little bit, because I'm a man of my word.
Yeah.
The biggest thing was, when the first phone call I made was to Frankie, and I kind of told him, I was like, this is what I'm thinking, and I'm not thinking it anymore. I want to do it. I just don't know how to go about it. And I just don't want to get criticized. Oh, this kid was trying to, get publicized, doing this crazy thing. We all knew he was going to come back. BG. You know how the media is. And honestly, quote unquote, Frankie was like, forget all that, man. This is your life. You have one life to live it. If this is what's going to make you happy, do it. He's like, we all got your back. So just do it, and then which felt better, but then I called Ricardo, then I called Mark Henry, I told my parents, and I told two of my buddies, and they were all very supportive. They were like, man, if this is what's going to make you happy, this is what you want to do it. You only got one shot at fighting. You know what I mean? The window's very small. So once I heard all that, it wasn't difficult anymore. I knew I was ready to go.
Is it your understanding that you will be welcome back to the UFC and that your next fight is going to be in the UFC?
I'm not too sure with that. I believe I'm still under contract with them.
Okay.
But my managers are all calling today. Okay. So we'll hopefully by the end of the week we'll know what the deal is. And if they're not welcoming, hey, I'll go back to Ring of Combat or whoever wants to sign me, and we'll work back up there. I wouldn't see why not. You
want to be in the UFC?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I've thought about other organizations, but man, the UFC is the UFC. It's got its good, it's got its bad, but every organization does. But that's where the best fighters are, man. The best fighters are at the UFC, and that's where I want to be. And I know I can compete with them. I know for sure I can be in the top of the division, no problem at all. I know that. Now I'm just here on my second life to prove it.
Have you started thinking about a perfect return, a time frame, an event, an opponent? Have you thought about that at all?
I mean, opponent. I mean, that's kind of cliche, but I'm ready for whoever. I was kind of looking at the thing is with me, man. The bigger the name, the better I fight. And I think that's what happened too. When I fought Case, I kind of didn't know anything about him, and he was just kind of 4 weeks, just whatever, just go in there and do what I do, But when I fought Sam, I was a different animal, in training camp, outside, I was just mean. I just showed up that day. Like the better, and it goes to when I used to fight Ring of Combat, the better my opponent, it's crazy, the quicker I would get him out of the way. But the guys that weren't that tough or didn't have a great record, I'd go 3 rounds with them and they'd be one of the toughest fights of my life. You know what I mean? So I think, realistically, I mean, I'll be ready to fight whenever. I'm in fight shape right now. Huh. But, I mean, Madison Square Garden would be nice against the big name. Madison Square Garden would be nice, a kid from Jersey. I'd bring some fans out there for sure, you know what I mean? But, I don't know, big name doesn't matter to me. Chris Wade wouldn't be a bad idea, or I was even thinking about Ross Pearson. It's big names, you know what I mean?
It has been said in the fight game, once you start thinking about retirement, even if you don't go through with it, once you start thinking about it and maybe your foot is going through that door, one foot, then it's time to really, start reconsidering things. And that's usually said of older fighters after a few knockouts and whatnot. This wasn't the case with you, but are you worried that after one bad fight or bad day or, one little setback that you'll start thinking about that again? Or are you confident that all that retirement stuff is gone?
No, man. The biggest thing with me and all my training partners and my parents, my coaches know I'm a head case. I'm the type of person that I don't care what sport we're playing, I'm competitive in, and I'm very hard on myself. I just feel like the way we fighters dedicate our lives to this, everything needs to be perfect all the time, and I believe that I'm over that hump mentally. If I had one bad round, the rest of my sparring's done. Now I have one bad round, it's like, oh, it's a new day. You know what I mean? Next round's all good, and I'm just having fun again. Like, even the coaches see it. I took the last 3 weeks off because the fight got canceled and I was busy with work. But, this whole camp, getting ready, getting Edson ready, getting Eddie ready for their fights coming up. It was probably my best sparring I've ever had, just because I was going in there, just having fun and just being Frankie, being fun, being energetic, being, tricky, and having a good old time with the fellas, you know what I mean? And I think that's how I'm going to treat this, next step in my life, is just take all the weight off your shoulders and go have fun. You know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing, man. That's the biggest thing. If you're not having fun, there's no point of doing it, and that's why I got into this sport.
And, you're surrounded by a tremendous support system. You mentioned some of those coaches and fighters. Pretty lucky to have those guys in your corner. When I would see you at the events, see you at the workout, you were still in tremendous shape. You didn't get fat. You were still around. So I was always kind of wondering in the back of my mind if you'd get that itch again. And I'm not surprised, being around those guys. They are inspirations in their own right. You see them having success, getting prepared for title fights, that there's a part of you that says, I want that as well, right? That you want to be in those positions too. You kind of envy that. You're happy for them, but you want to be experiencing that as well, I would imagine.
Oh, absolutely. I remember when I was in combat, man, and I was taking dudes out, and I'm like waiting for my call, and I'm seeing all my teammates crushing it in the UFC, man. I felt like I got signed to the Yankees, but I'm still playing AAA ball. You know what I mean? I'm like, I know I can compete with my teammates, so let me get my hack, but now that I see everybody, Corey Anderson's top 15, Eddie, Edson, Frankie, like, UFC 200's my teammate.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's like, it blows my mind, and the thing about our team, man, we are probably the smallest team out there. But I'll put our record up and our heart up against any other team that has 60 or plus. You know what I mean? It's crazy. I was looking at the gym today, man, and I'm like, we're honestly built like a Frankie Edgar, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
We're very small, but we don't quit, and we're tough. Well, anybody that fights us is going to remember us for the rest of their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I love, man. I love where I'm at. I love my coaches, my teammates, everybody around us, man. It's just, we have something very, very special that no other team has.
Well, again, Frankie, welcome back, my man. Thank you again for coming on the show, and I hope that the UFC does welcome you back with open arms. You certainly deserve to be there, and I hope that your next fight is in the UFC. What a story this is. I'm looking forward to, I guess, I don't even know if it's chapter 2. It's probably, in your life story, it's probably chapter 9 or 10 as far as all the things that you've been through. But I'm looking forward to chapter 2 of your UFC run. Appreciate the time, and good luck to you, my man. I really am looking forward to it, and I'm happy for you that you found the passion again.
Ariel, thanks so much, man. You've always been very supportive of my team and myself. So, man, I really, really appreciate it. And I told you, man, I'm a man of my word.
Yes.
I told you I'd keep that deal.
That's right. That's great. Thank you, Frankie. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Frankie Perez returning to the UFC, announcing it on this program. Looking forward to seeing his next fight in that organization. And I would imagine they would welcome him back. They were happy with him. He was coming off a very big win over Sam Stout less than a year ago. So now here he is, looking to regain that footing and continue his MMA run. Remember when he announced that retirement in the cage? That was big news. A lot of people gave him props. Now here he is back in the mix.